Louis, good to see you. How you doing?
Yeah, good.
Good to see you, mate. Ready?
Let's go, yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. Here we are, where it all happens. Actually, before we sit down, we can't ignore the background here, because
Of course not.
each of these, they mean so much, don't they? Let's
Yeah, 100%.
start with this one.
Yeah.
You can see, what's impressed me most about this one is you can see the match-worn marks on it. That is from Wembley
Yeah, I
turf.
don't think I've watched it. Yeah, that is real blood, sweat, tears. But yeah, a bittersweet day, but a great experience nonetheless.
You say bittersweet there, and it really was, wasn't it? Because on one hand, the first experience of the new Wembley for the club, and possibly for yourself as a player as well, but ultimately a gut-wrenching way to lose out at the end.
Yeah, I mean, everyone always says that when you go to Wembley, it's only a good day when you win, and that was definitely true. There was loads of positives to take out of the day, the experience for the fans, but yeah, for ourselves it was disappointing to lose on penalties. But yeah, a day I'll never forget nonetheless.
Certainly with you on that one. Let's move along here, and
going?
slightly different. So, redemption, if you like, in the sense that this time Bromley were really the underdogs, but to go back and to turn it around and get the victory and all the build up to it and everything in between, what did that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, this day was, again, and like I said before, when you do lose at Wembley, I think it makes you stronger. You know, when you come back the next time, you definitely won't lose. And that's what happened with us. We were the underdogs, like you said. And yeah, we took on Wrexham. It was their big day, and we made it our big day. So yeah, that was a fantastic win for the lads, and yeah, a great experience again.
And so we're going to stick with the Wembley theme, and one thing that a lot of players say is about this club, some players don't get to play at Wembley at all in their entire careers. You've had it 3 times in 6 years with Bromley. We're going to move on to this one. Time for you to make a call from the 3.
Yeah.
Was this the most special of the lot?
Yeah, 100%. These two were, you know, your cup finals and that experience. That's a cup feeling, but this one was really, you know, 46 games in a season, playoff games, and then to get to that final, this really did elevate the club to the next level. And yeah, this was by far the best experience and the best win that I've had at Wembley.
And can you remember walking out that tunnel at the start and just seeing the wall of Bromley support to your left-hand side? Because that was magnificent, wasn't it?
100%. Yeah, I couldn't believe how many fans we brought. But to be fair, I expected it, because I know that this club has a great following, and I know they turn out in their numbers at Wembley. But yeah, we outdone Solihull with the support, and I think that carried us through.
It carried us through to this. Let's move on to this one. And something you've had before, just looking at this and looking at this as well. You've played in the league before, but what did it mean for you to do it with the club that has played such a big part in your career and that you've played such a big part in the growth of?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. For myself, you know, you don't know if you're going to get back into the league when you do drop out of it, but yeah, it was special to do it with the club that I kind of started at, and yeah, to see the experience that it's given everyone, it's unbelievable.
And just on that first day, stepping out at Harrogate and the home games as well, and just seeing all the familiar faces that have been with the club and that you've got to know, that's quite a special feeling, I imagine.
Yeah, I think that's something that, you know, as a footballer you're going to take away. You know, it's what you leave behind, and yeah, I'm going to leave behind, you know, some great memories, but the club is in a great position to go on and do even better things. So yeah, long may that success continue.
So Louis, an emotional one. Last day at Hayes Lane for yourself. Yeah, like I say, an emotional day. How are you feeling at the moment?
Yeah, no, a mixture of emotions. Sad to be leaving, because when you've been somewhere for such a long time, it just becomes your life. But yeah, proud. I think that's the biggest emotion I'm feeling. Proud of what, you know, I achieved personally, and yeah, just created memories that are gonna last, and built some fantastic relationships.
And you played a huge part in getting this club to the EFL, a huge transformation from the moment you walked in all those years ago. How's this season been for you on a personal level?
Yeah, on a personal, it's been a little bit up and down. You know, we had a great pre-season, really felt confident and fit going into the season. And then I've just picked up little niggles at the wrong times, nothing major, but sometimes when you come out of the team and the team go on runs and start doing well, it's hard to get back in. But I think at that point it's where I just begin to use my experience, help the lads, help the manager, and yeah, just try and push the team to do as well as they can.
You've been an ever-present around the place. How do you feel that the team and the club has adapted to life in the EFL?
Yeah, like I touched on, we had a fantastic pre-season, and I think it was at that point, we played Bristol Rovers, played Cambridge, and we beat them, and it was kind of at that point that I knew that we was going to go on to have a decent season. I think the club did really well in keeping the core of the team together and adding some real young talent around us, and I think that's worked really well. And yeah, by keeping the core together, you have that togetherness, and togetherness takes you a long way away in football. And yeah, and finally, we've always been a hard team to beat, and we took that from the National League into the league, and I think we've proved that again.
Let's strip it right back. Let's go to the very beginning where you signed for Bromley Football Club. And what were your earliest memories? What were your earliest impressions of the club? Because it's very different now to what it was then. Yeah,
we're talking a long time ago. It was nothing like this. Obviously, the view that I can see is the new stand. That was where we trained, basically, up there. And I've got funny memories, really. It was one night a week or 2 nights a week. I'll turn up to some small five-a-side AstroTurf. Some lads are wearing boots, some lads are wearing trainers. And yeah, it was just a free-for-all, really. Just matches and just having fun, and yeah, people coming from work, and it's when football become, real. It was real people, and I really enjoyed it.
I remember the press release when you signed that year. I remember being at school on the computer, which I shouldn't really have been looking at Bromley stuff, but it's because you signed, and I remember that day. And the man who brought you to the club was a man that a lot of us have very good memories of, Mark Goldberg. How would you sum up your relationship with Mark?
Yeah, no, I had a fantastic relationship with Mark. He believed in me, and he picked me up at a time, that was a tough time in my career. The previous club that I was at, it wasn't going great, and I sort of knew Mark through Brad, his son, who was at that club with me. And yeah, to be fair, he said, "I'm not going to let you stop playing football." And I said to him, "Well, I'll try and get that love back for it, but no guarantees." And then he offered me, sort of a contract and to come and train with the lads. And he said, "Just see how you get on, really." And yeah, the rest is history.
And your first game, I remember it very well, stood behind the goal, Dorchester away. You came on, didn't you, towards the latter part of the second half,
yep,
from memory, and you scored this goal. And I just thought to myself, wow, we've got a player on our hands here. What was the emotion when you put the ball into the back of the net? You've talked then about not being sure what you wanted to do going forward with football. What was your emotion when the ball hit the back of that net on your debut?
Just taking it back to before the ball went in, I remember sitting on the bench. I'm pretty sure I come on that game, I got subbed on. And the truth is, I said to Mark that I wasn't sure if I wanted to come on. At that point, I wasn't sure if I even wanted to play the matches on a Saturday. And I do remember it clearly. I think Mark turned around to me and said, "Do you fancy it?" And I looked at him and I was like, "I'm not sure." I was like, "You make the call. I'm ready, but you make the call." And he said, "Yep, you're coming on." And then it was, I think, within minutes that, just the ball fell to me and I just whipped it far corner. And it was just, I definitely think that point there was like a little spark that went off inside me. That candle got relit, and yeah, like I said before, the rest is history.
And you just carried on, didn't you, that season? Actually, after a difficult couple of seasons for the club prior to that, that was a good season, wasn't it? Getting to the playoffs, unfortunately losing out to Ebbsfleet right at the final hurdle, but the next year was very, very special. In your mind, did you see that? Did you see yourself playing a part in that achievement next year? Did you see that the potential of that team and that really special group of people was there?
I would say, in terms of the people, I knew there was good people, good players, but at that point I wasn't as experienced as I am now. So I was more trying to find myself myself as a footballer, rather than seeing where the club could go at that point. But yeah, as we went into the new season and the squad that we built, you know, we touched on it. I think we had about 10 strikers that were
10 very good strikers.
10 very good strikers, and I don't know how we all ended up on the pitch. Maybe we had 12 players out there and no one noticed. But yeah, in terms of we had real squad depth that year, and I think it was only right that we went up.
It just seemed, you talk about the amount of players that were involved, but it just seemed to click.
Yeah.
You all seemed to click together, and that must have been a really great feeling to be part of such a talented squad, but such an important member of it as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like I've touched on loads of times, togetherness is, I think, one of the biggest things in a football team, and we had that in abundance, you know. So yeah, no surprise that we got promoted.
So we come onto the pitch here, and the sun's come out for you.
Yeah, that's because you're here, Matt.
You flatter me. But I just wanted to go back to that title-winning season and just talk a bit about where you saw the club going from that point. That was a real, I think, turning point for the club in terms of its development and progression up the pyramid. But looking forward 10 years, would you have seen us where we are in the FL now?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I don't know. I mean, back then, he was just working hard. You know, I was a lot younger. Would I see the club here in 10 years? What I would say is that, you know, this club was always filled with ambitious people, ambitious players. So it's no surprise that the club is where it is 10 years later.
We've got to talk about, again, that title-winning season, a very talented group of attacking players. You referred to it earlier, but the Flair Gang. Tell us, and everybody who was unfortunate enough to not witness the Flair Gang, tell us about that.
Yeah, I don't know if the hashtag's still trending on X or Twitter or whatever. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the Flair Gang, that was a real fun moment for us as players, the people that were involved. I think it was just all about entertainment. You know, we got to that point where we were so confident and we were just bringing the best out of each other. And I mean, we felt like if, you know, tactically, if they doubled up on me, it would be Cookie that's causing havoc. If they doubled up on Cookie, I'd be causing havoc. It was just, and then Moses was just causing havoc all the time. Yeah, it just felt like we was a little bit untouchable at that point, and it was really fun. So
we've talked about Mark Goldberg. Let's talk about Neil Smith now. Neil was a manager and a coach who helped you kind of transition into that kind of role a bit further up the field, and your return on goals then was absolutely immense. What are your memories of Neil and that kind of transition from your positional?
Yeah, fantastic memories of Neil Smith. Another manager that I, you know, thrived under. I feel like, you know, he injected a lot of belief into me, and when he did move me into that sort of number 10 role, I think he really allowed me to be free. You know, he had players around me that brought out the best in my game, and I was really, you know, happy that I could deliver, because he did give me a lot of freedom and just said, look, just get the ball and do what you think's best. And I think that's when I was at my best, and yeah, I was really happy that I could give him a return.
And after that FA Trophy victory, and we looked at the shirt in there, I've got a particular emotional memory of yourself on that day, and that was well after the final whistle had gone and everything had happened, and we said our goodbyes in the changing room. Do you remember much of that period, and obviously the move for yourself at the time, and was it a tough one to make given your ties to the club, but also your want to progress? Yeah,
I mean, you know, football is one of those jobs where, you know, everyone is so ambitious to want to play as high as they can and do as much as they can in the game. So you're always trying to find that balance between, you know, places that you're happy. You know, this was a place where I was happy and comfortable and, you know, surrounded by fantastic people. But obviously I was also ambitious to move on and test myself at a higher level. So yeah, it was always emotional, and it's emotional now leaving the club. But yeah, who knows what the future holds.
You've created so many memories individually and as a team on this pitch. One thing I wanted to talk about, where we're stood right now and everywhere else in this stadium, is the fans. And from the moment you walked in, you've kind of had a very special relationship with the fans.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, the fan base has grown so much. You know, from when I first arrived at the club. I mean, this stand, you know, there wasn't many people in it, so I feel like you could get the positive to that was you could get a more personal relationship with people, I guess. You know, after games, you know, you're walking out, you're speaking to people, So, you know, forwarding on 10 years, I still know a lot of those fans from them days, you know, which is great, really.
It's lovely to see that those familiar faces, just like yourself, have stuck with it and seen that progression. But also, the newer supporters also are appreciating what you've achieved in the past and what you've achieved in more recent times as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's such a community club and, you know, community driven, and I'm pretty sure everyone speaks, you know, and messages get passed down, you know, to newer fans. And yeah, it's great to see how the support has really grown, you know, because it really does give you that edge on the pitch when you've got a strong following and there's noise, and yeah, it just brings out the best in the players, to be honest.
Talking of fans, we can't not talk about the various banners and chants over the years. I'm thinking the Football Genius banner, I remember that one very well, and of course the Zidane chant as well. What do they mean to you?
Yeah, no, they do mean a lot. Like, when you go out on the pitch, you know, you've got a job to do, you've got, you know, instructions to follow, but then when you see things out the corner of your eye, like the Football Genius, and you see the pictures up on Twitter and stuff, and it was Twitter, it was a great feeling. It was really good. It was nice that I was able to have that impact. And then the song started, and I remember my family first heard that song when they were walking down Wembley Way, and there was fans singing it, and yeah, it is a great feeling. It made them feel really, really good, and it does give me that boost on the pitch. So that was really nice. I'm not better than Zidane, I've got to say.
I think some would disagree.
I think everyone knows. I think everyone would know that, but yeah, it's a good bit of banter and it's a great feeling.
So we've got a little something special in store for you here. So we're going to come into Bear Island, and I'll invite you to have a seat as well.
It's like a little cinema.
I'm going to jump
This is sweet.
in this one and cast your eyes on the big screen.
Unbelievable.
Some amazing memories for you here. I love this one. Until I saw it earlier, it didn't refresh in my memory, but this is some strike. That's the trademark finish, right?
Yeah, this was a cup goal. Yeah, some people might say I tried to cross it, but I know I didn't.
You sure?
Yeah, no, 100%.
This is a really special one. Talk us through this one.
I didn't realise that I picked it up in my own half and travelled, you know, half the length of the pitch. So I think that makes this goal.
Wow, the
Yeah.
bend on that is absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
and in off the post as well.
Yeah, no, that was. Everyone always reminds me of that goal. Yeah, I always said to Josh, I always like to celebrate, and I feel like it gets the crowd pumped, you know, and raises the energy.
Certainly does, and I think they really appreciate that from you as well, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, some players score and they don't really celebrate that much, but I always feel like, you know, it just lifts the place when you score.
Cheeky brace that
This
night.
was a great game, yeah, Maidstone away. 90th minute, strike from Corey.
I remember that. I struggled to keep my vocal cords in check after that on the commentary.
Yeah,
And again, a really important goal.
Yeah, I scored quite a few, you know, maybe not as many goals as, you know, like Michael Cheek, but I've scored some important ones. Call Corey the Wasp, because the way he presses people, he just makes them panic. So yeah.
Someone you're really close with on and off the pitch.
Yeah, Corey is, you know, one of the players that I've played with here for a while. You know, we travel in together, share a room together, and when we stay at hotel trips. So yeah, no, I've got a great relationship on and off the pitch with Corey.
This was quite a big moment, this one,
Yeah,
wasn't
great
it?
ball from Ben, and I remember we actually done some really good build-up play in that goal, and I think that goal secured us third position in the playoffs, which was massive.
And against the title, well, a promotion rival as well.
Yeah, in hindsight, that put us in a great position. Scoring against Gillingham in the derby, that was a great feeling.
1,000 fans as well in the other corner cheering on after that. Must have been a great feeling.
Oh, look, that's the first one.
The first one, right behind that goal, I was right in vision of that. We talked about the moment.
That was the spark.
That's when it all
Sparked
started.
all this off, yeah.
And what a spark, by the way. Look at what you've achieved, what you've helped the club achieve, and you know how proud you must have made your family along the way as well.
Yeah, no, it's created memories, you know, for life, really.
Look at this. Oh, you could not have hit that any better, could you?
Yeah, I think it just sat up, just caught it perfectly. I think it was my birthday that weekend as well, so.
And prime flare gang as well.
Yeah, I remember, I think I signalled over to Mark to say, don't take me off. I think all the Flair gang had scored and I was just waiting, and then I just took my moment.
And how? Talking of spectacular goals, just one more before we move on to the other type of goals that we're going to talk about. Sutton United, Hayes Lane, Boxing Day. I think it was 2016 or 2017. What an incredible end to the game. What's your memory of that one?
Yeah, no, I just remember the goal itself. I think it was a corner, and it got headed out, and I was on the edge. And yeah, I liked it because it was left foot again, and it was a bit more of like not a cold effort. It was a strike, and yeah, I think it was last minutes of the game, and yeah, I remember that goal. I think I did a full loop of the pitch. I probably covered more distance in the celebration than I did during the game. But yeah, and then run behind the goal, and yeah, it was limbs.
And that brings us onto the other kind of category of goals that we spoke about, because that one I think had a dual meaning in terms of the result and what it meant, but also the goal itself, is the important goals and the goals you really look back on and think, actually, that was a really important moment for us as a team. What ones spring to mind when we say that?
Yeah, I think the Barnet goal that secured third in the playoffs. I think that was a big moment because the playoffs is tough, and if you get that third spot, I think it gives you an edge. It was a great ball from Ben. I think, to be fair, the build-up play, we moved the ball nicely. I remember coming on at half-time, we started playing a bit more, and then yeah, it was a great ball from Ben, and then left foot strike, and yeah, that was a really important goal for us.
You mentioned Southend away as well, and there are a couple of reasons behind that one for you.
Yeah, the Boxing Day goal at Southend. We were going through a bit of a tough patch. I don't think we were winning. The pressure was on, and yeah, it was a Boxing Day fixture at Southend. Packed Roots Hall. I remember waking up that morning and feeling so ill. I think I told the manager I don't think I can play, and then he said, "No, you got to play." And yeah, to be fair, I remember it popped out on the edge of the box, and it was a nice strike and another good goal.
And another one that I know springs to mind when I think about you as a player, and also that came to your mind, Maidstone away on that Tuesday night, and just the importance of those goals on that night for you. Yeah,
I think that was at a point where we were making a playoff push that season, and I think we had to win a lot of our last fixtures to get creep into the playoffs. And Maidstone obviously being at Derby as well at their place, I scored a brace that night, but the 90th minute strike from Corey, I just followed it in. I just tried to be like cheeky. Yeah, I followed it in.
Channel your inner cheek.
Yeah, channel your inner cheek. Yeah, and I just chipped it over the keeper, and it was just, we was at the other end, but I'm pretty sure in the home end, but at the away end it was it was scenes.
And another goal you mentioned to me when you thought about important goals was your strike against Gillingham at Priestfield this season. Why does that stick out?
I just feel like Derby goals are always good goals. I think they create like a feel-good factor. I know that was a game that was building up to the Newcastle fixture as well. So yeah, it's always nice to get one over on rivals, and yeah, it was good work from Jude. And he had a little shot cross goal, and it popped out, and again turned into a poacher.
Well, they all add up, don't they, these goals, however spectacular or whether they're tap-ins, they're all so important, aren't they? And it must be nice for you to look back on these goals and just talking about it now and just realise what it's meant for the club and for you.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's rare that you can look back on moments in football. It's such a fast-moving job. You're always looking forward, but now that my time is done here, it's almost nice to look back and just talk about it. Header. That was Eastbourne, wasn't it? Oh, missile. The Jude Bellingham.
We've talked about your first two managers. Let's talk about Andy Woodman and what's it been like to work under him.
Yeah, again, it's been fantastic. I'm lucky to have played under three managers here that I've had really strong relationships with all of them. So yeah, just grateful really.
And two other very important people behind the scenes I know who you've had great relationships with as well, the chairman and owner Robin Stanton-Gleeves and chief exec Mark Hammond, and they've both been a big part of your journey as well.
100%. I mean, between the gaffer, CEO and the chairman, they've all got to have belief in you. and they've shown me that, and I'm just happy that I've been able to repay them with some fantastic moments.
We're looking here, we've got the little trophy cabinet going on. We've also got some fantastic pictures over there of the celebrations at Wembley, and also the open top bus. You just pulled that out when we walked in, the open top bus parade, and that must have been quite a surreal moment as well, seeing everyone lining the streets of Bromley.
100%, yeah. I mean, the lads loved it. You know, it's something that you don't experience all the time. And people really did come out in their numbers. I don't think I expected, the whole high road to be cordoned off. And yeah, it was a really great experience.
And talking of that happened twice, after the FA Trophy in 2022 and the promotion final in 2024. But when you were watching Byron Webster step up to take that penalty right at the end of that game, sum up your emotions, your feelings. How were you in that point in time?
Yeah, it's tough because I was speaking to the chairman about it, and I said that when I was on the pitch, I didn't feel. Before the game, you feel the occasion. On the pitch, you don't. And then when I got subbed off, I started feeling it again. And I think we both just agreed it's because you feel so helpless. It's like it's such a big game, such a big moment for the club, and it's just out of your hands. But it was in the hands of our captain, and he's as cool as you like, innit? So I just knew he was going to score.
I remember seeing you in the dressing room and the tunnel area afterwards, and just contrasting it to 2018 and then that point. It's almost kind of gone full circle, isn't it? When did it really sink in for you that what you'd achieved that day as a team?
Yeah, I think it took a little while to sink in. I think when you celebrate and you're celebrating the day, but it's when you come back in and you speak to people and you people that have supported the club for years and years that have never seen it in the EFL. I think that's when it sinks in that this is more than just winning a game of football. This is taking Bromley to a whole new level.
So first of all, we're in the Players' Lounge now, and you really opened my eyes with what you were saying a few minutes ago, just how important this room is for a player. What does it mean to you?
Yeah, the Players' Lounge is the hub for me. I've been at clubs where they don't have this facility, and you're in the changing rooms, and I feel like when you're going through tough patches in the season, when things are a bit negative and everyone's talking, it can get a little bit toxic. So I think what this does really well, and is what the whole time I've been here, is having this Players' Lounge is it's great because players can come in this room and almost switch off from the pressures and the constant football talk. It's nice to be able to talk about pool, darts or table tennis, it's just perfect.
It is fantastic, the facilities we've got in here. For those that don't know, like you say, the dartboard, the ping pong table and the pool table, and I guess that just helps you detach and just be yourselves as people, I guess, and as a group to bond off the field.
100%, new players coming in, and you're getting to know people, and you might get to know people just through playing pool or darts or something like that, and it just breaks the ice. There's so much banter that happens in this room, and I think it just holds everyone in really good spirits when they go out to training or they finish the day.
And talking about banter and teammates, looking back over the years that you've been here, I think from a kind of an outside perspective, looking in, you've been involved with some great players and people and great squads and dressing rooms. How do you sum that up now this chapter's coming to an end? How do you sum up the people that you've had you've had the privilege of working with? Yeah,
I think it's only today that I've realised, looking back, how many great squads I've been a part of and how many fantastic players have played for this football club. Some that have gone on to higher levels, some that maybe went on to retire, but they were great people and did a lot for me. It's just a privilege, really. I'm grateful to have shared the pitch with some of these players, and especially the young lads. I'll be watching. They're definitely going on to better things if they can stay humble, stay grounded, and keep working hard. So it's just been a privilege.
Looking back, getting all emotional about it now, that goal at Dorchester, you talked about the spark and everything that it's led to. It must be hard to kind of process that in your mind now.
Yeah, it's just crazy how journeys have started, really. Small moments in your career can spark off some amazing things. And, I've played football for as long as I can remember. So, and you're going to have ups and downs, like I say to a lot of the players, but yeah, little moments, little goals, they can change everything.
This chapter might be coming to an end, but you've written yourself in the history books. You've become a fan's favourite. What is next for Louis Dennis?
Yeah, what's next for Louis Dennis is a break. Right now, it's just it's another season that's finished. Reflect, be grateful for the season that I've had and what I've achieved, and then it's back to work really. Got to start working hard when the time's right to get ready for the next season, and where that's going to be, I don't know yet, but yeah.
Well, just from all of us behind the scenes here, it's been an absolute honour and a privilege to work with you over the years. I know you'll get the messages from the fans and the supporters as well, which you thoroughly deserve. But on behalf of everyone here, thank you, Louis Dennis, for doing what you've done and for being a top man along the way.
Matt. Thank you very much.